In this video I will attempt to learn Aurebesh in 1 week. What's important to note is that Aurebesh is not a language, it's just an alphabet and it's based on the English or Latin alphabet, which by the way also exists in the Star Wars universe in the form of the High Galactic Alphabet, but that's mostly used by higher class people and can be seen as pretentious. And Aurebesh is a lot more common as well. It's used to write what is known as Galactic Basic, which is what we know as English. I tried to learn the Aurebesh alphabet back in 2016 and I found an old notebook which I had used to practice. I didn't get very far in my practice and my method wasn't really working. I think I was like learning 1 letter per day and I just got bored, I think. This time I will only give myself 1 week to learn it and hopefully that's going to be a lot more effective and I'm not going to give up. To test how well I was able to learn it, I have created this little test. I have 2 sentences with 30 letters each and I'm supposed to transcribe it from English to Aurebesh and vice versa. I'm going to time it and then we're going to see how much my time improved. And obviously I'm allowing myself to use this because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do the test. But the goal is that the transcription is going to be a lot faster once I learn the alphabet. But now let's just start this first test. So that was the test and I don't know if the time was any good or anything, we'll just have to see once I compare it to my final result after 7 days. Now what I'm planning to do is I'm going to learn 5 letters and 1 symbol per day, and also each day I'm going to go through all the letters I learned previously. It's a pretty simple process and there's not really much else to it and I don't know if it's gonna work, but I guess we will see. Something that I noticed right away was that it was a bit difficult to write Aurebesh letters. The letters feel very symmetrical and it's almost like I should be drawing them with a ruler to make them look good. The slightly curved lines are even more difficult to do. For example, simple ones like these are fairly easy to keep consistent, while ones like these, which feature slight curves, are a lot more challenging. Actually, something that's kind of interesting is that many people in the Star Wars universe don't know how to handwrite, or they've just never done it before because there's no need for it. They just use technology to write. This is something that came up in one of the High Republic novels and I hadn't thought about that before and it's kind of interesting. When I was practicing, each day I first wrote the new letters over a couple of times and then I started forming longer sentences with new letters mixed in with previously learned ones. I didn't write any real words most of the time, it was mostly nonsense. Then every day I went back to the practice sheet from the previous day and read whatever I had written the day before, just to practice my reading. You know how the word alphabet comes from the 2 first letters in the Greek alphabet, which are alpha and beta? The same goes for Aurebesh, where the 2 first letters are Aurek and Besh, so Aurek plus Besh becomes Aurebesh. That was kind of a fun little detail. Something that I also used starting from day 4 is this website called Aurebesh.org, where you can practice reading and writing Aurebesh. I found it to be a pretty fun way to strengthen my Aurebesh skills. Utinicast.com also has an Aurebesh trainer, which can be useful as well. Something that's also interesting about Aurebesh is that it has some digraphs. Basically, instead of writing 2 O's after each other, you can write this one, which just means the same thing. There are a total of 8 of these digraphs, and I did learn them all, even though apparently it's correct both using them and not using them. It's definitely a bit hard to remember to use them at times, and they are not that important to know because they are rarely used in any Star Wars media. On the last day I was finally able to write whatever I wanted as I learned the last letters, and I started to become a lot more confident with the letters, and I felt like I started to write pretty fast as well. If I had any issues, they were mostly with the digraphs. Now it's time to take the final test. I do think that my time will improve, but I'm not too confident that it's going to be a huge improvement. But hopefully it's going to be at least a little bit better. Okay, that went way better than expected. I improved my time 3 minutes for the Latin to Aurebesh and 2.5 minutes for the Aurebesh to Latin, which I would say is a significant improvement. So yeah, that was good. I did have one error on the Aurebesh to Latin one. I was getting confused by U and G, which are quite similar. It's certainly possible to learn Aurebesh a lot faster than this, but you'll probably have to do a lot more revision. And using the trainers online is probably the easiest way to learn Aurebesh. But I wanted to do it this way, writing them down, because that's how I learned the best. In the end, I didn't find it to be very hard to learn the Aurebesh alphabet. It's pretty straightforward. I don't think I'm going to be writing Aurebesh a lot. It's definitely more useful to know how to read Aurebesh. My goal is that one day I'll be able to read Aurebesh as fast as I can read Latin letters, but there's definitely a long way to go until I reach that point. I don't know if knowing Aurebesh is that useful of a skill, but I do think it's a fun thing to learn, and it might be useful in some situations. I'm mainly thinking about things with like finding Easter eggs and stuff like that. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope I'll see you again soon.